Shamaya, you did it.
STL Music.
Welcome back to the show. Yo, listen up, we back in the game. Sweep the league, we got the flame. Motivated to the fullest every single day. We wake up, get it in every way. Right to the two in the global inspiration. Talk this sports and top news, no hesitation. Sweep the league is back. We always coming back, that's a fact. Wanna tell them that. STL Music, look what we did, where we at. Coach Jill in the house with the flow so tight. Every rubber rock stats, we unite. Yeah, the best show, Monday through Friday. If this ain't different, they lying. We got the energy. When I say sweep, you say the league. Sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go.
Hey, it's Rain Fernandez, and you're watching Sweep the League. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and Facebook at Rain Fernandez, Rayne Fernandez.
2, 1.
Well, as you guys can tell, Derek Irvin doesn't miss anything. If you don't want to miss anything as well, go to YouTube. Search at Sweep the League TV. Be a subscriber today. We're giving away a bunch of prizes and stuff. Be a subscriber today so you don't miss, just like Derek never misses. Subscribe to Sweep the League.
Hi, it's Sherilyn, and you're watching Sweep the League TV. Follow me on Instagram at official Sherilyn for more content.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
Legends collide. If the Cowboys fall short, we'll still ride the tide. Like Jordan in the clutch of Brady's last play. We bring the fire, keeping fans in the fray. Coach Gio and Marie calling the shots. With Derek Coventry, Hall of Fame thoughts. So hit that subscribe, don't sit on the bench. Get in the game, every highlight's intense. The live stream's on till your friends don't delay. Like Kobe in the fourth, we're here to play. Sweep the League TV, where greatness resides. From the bars at the drive till my heart's on the rise. We're all in on sports, NBA, CFB, and more for fans. By fans, it's the show you'll adore.
Victor Wembanyama's sensational second season in the NBA is over. San Antonio's all-star center has been diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder, which is a fancy way of saying he has a blood clot. A person with knowledge of the situation tells the Associated Press that the team expects him to make a full recovery and that he should be available for the start of next season. But what happens now? First, he'll begin treatment, which will surely be some regimen of blood thinners to address the clot. Then doctors will try to determine how and why it formed in the first place. It's a big blow to the Spurs, who were already without coach Greg Popovich because of the stroke he had in November. And it'll likely cost Wembanyama the Defensive Player of the Year award. He was the favorite to win that this spring. The Spurs expect he's ready for next season. The NBA is surely hoping the same, because Wembanyama is already one of the biggest global stars in basketball.
And welcome to Sweep the League, guys. Rudy Campos Jr. going to be joined by Coach Gio himself here. He wasn't here a little while ago, but he's going to be back in just a little bit. But as you guys heard on this Thursday night edition of Sweep the League, before we get into it, be sure to go to our YouTube page, search Sweep the League TV, hit that subscribe button so you can get Sweep the League TV, the big show. Also, you can get STL 316, Grading the Market, Sweep Unplugged, STL Music. We've got the Wemby the Future song that just dropped not too long ago. Fox and Wemby. That dropped a couple of weeks back. We've also got a whole lot of STL music coming to you on Sweep the League. You go to Spotify, wherever music is available. Search STL Music, Shemaya on the beats, and you'll get all of that great music. So, obviously, the breaking news of the day, as we've got a lot of people rolling in here, 35 in the chat. We really appreciate everybody listening to us tonight. Jacob Eric, part of Grading the Market. Let's go. JC, shout out to JC. Special Eve says, howdy. Joel Cologne, good evening, y'all. Joel, we appreciate you joining. All you guys joining in tonight. Be sure to leave comments. And, of course, the big news of the day Wish it was really good news for you guys out there, but it has been it's been said that Victor Wembanyama is going to be out for the rest of the season. Let's bring on Coach Gio right now. He's joining us here, but Coach Gio, you're on with us right now. But let me get through this real quick, and I'll get your take on it. This is from Raul Dominguez Jr. It's also good friend of the show here as well, and Jeff Garcia, Spurs, Locked On Spurs, has been covering it all day. I did an emergency podcast with Jeff earlier, but the injury update: Spurs today announced that Victor Wembanyama has been diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder. The condition was discovered when Wembanyama returned to San Antonio following the All-Star game in San Francisco. He's expected to basically miss the rest of 24-25 regular season. More updates as they come. Gio, first reaction. Now, when I originally saw the news come across, because I have Bleacher Report and I've got, a lot of these other apps that, send me notifications left and right. When I saw that, I had to take a double take. Like, I knew he was going to be out tonight. He was doubtful yesterday coming into the Suns game tonight. Didn't know how serious it was, but the thing with deep vein thrombosis, DVT, is one of the worst symptoms you could have. And I don't do my search through AI or whatever it is. I do it through actual WebMD, because WebMD is the go-to encyclopedia for stuff. Basically, when you are gassed, you're out of breath, which we saw Victor in a lot of these last few games out of breath. That's when it gets a little bit more serious. So I'm just saying right now, part of Sweep the League, everybody from Sweep the League praying for Victor Wembanyama during this time right now, going through DVT. I know they're saying that he's going to make a clear-cut recovery. He's going to be fine. The long-term diagnosis is going to be good. He's going to be able to return to the court. But what was your first reaction, Gio, to hearing that Victor was going to be shut down the rest of the year?
Well, no playoffs. I mean,
initially, yeah, that was the first reaction.
Initially, first thought, but my thoughts are with him and the family, and wish him a speedy recovery. Also look really apparently also blood clots as well. Could be another symptom as well. So you definitely want to take care of that. I mean, Rudy, look, we knew playoffs were going to be not necessarily a stretch, but it was going to be really tough. And at this point, Rudy, you sit him down for the rest of the season. There's really no point of throwing him out there and chance to potentially get even worse, right? So at this point, you put him down, let him go for next season, get him healthy, ready to go. And I expect the Spurs will do some moves in the offseason. But the first thought was, man, you know what? Tough for a guy who has had a really good season. He was an all-star already. It was good to see him out there, though the skills challenge was very weird and very strange. But anyway, tough loss for the Spurs. But at this point, Rudy, it should be the Fox show.
Should be. Now, remember, De'Aaron's already basically said he's going to have surgery in the off season. So the question now is, do you basically shut down Fox for the rest of the year?
Rudy, you might as well. What's the point? I mean, I know they're playing the Suns tonight, and the last I checked, they were up. But just in general, Rudy, why risk it? This is potentially a big investment. Another guy, Fox. I don't see why playing him, to get some extra tickets in the seats. If he's due, as he stated, how about you start the process now, Rudy? Why wait?
Well, he's going to be paid in the offseason. It was reported today the Spurs are going to give him a big-time deal in the offseason, so they're going to extend him.
Yeah,
and you're right. I agree.
Protect your investment, Rudy. Protect the investment. Rudy, we see bigger things on the horizon. This season, sure, playing would have been great. Playoffs, but at this point, why not just sit the guy down, let him get healthy for next season, and we can finish a kumbaya for next season.
I got you. Eddie's actually in here. Eddie the First. Can you imagine we get into the lottery again and get flagged? That's something that we're going to talk about too. And, I kind of got a little pissed off earlier on Twitter, Gio, which I know you're not a part of the Twitter world anymore. Not anytime soon. You're still kind of taking a hiatus from it. But
Well,
We did get
yeah.
I got a little pissed off because you had some people out there that were making ridiculous comments, and I get it. It's joking. I get it. You want to poke jokes and stuff like that. But I basically posted at this time basketballs, because then you heard, well, the Spurs are gonna, this is the way for them. I even went on TikTok, and you had a TikTok guy, and right before we got on the show, I looked at it. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Basically, he said this was all part of the plan. Shut Victor down. He doesn't even believe that he has blood clots. He doesn't believe he's got this deep vein thrombosis. It's all made up. If you don't believe me, search it on TikTok. It's there. He thought it was all made up, and they just used this disease to shut him down for the season. Kind of pissed me off because why are you going to go with something like that? You can say, you know what? He's got right shoulder pain. It's lingering.
The fact that it's so specific, Rudy.
Exactly.
Say, hey, he has this. And listen, we all know in social media, people always want to be the conspiracy theorist. And look, I'm all for a good conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
I mean, I love a good theory. But this one's a bit of a stretch. They were very specific on what was going on with Victor. And at this point for the Spurs, why risk it? Sit him down. But to say they lied, it's
BS, man. Why are you going to go into deep vein thrombosis? Something that is serious. We've seen guys, Chris Bosh, as Joel Colon mentioned, Chris Bosh, retiring because of blood clots. It is very serious. Who was another guy? Brandon Ingram was another guy that had to deal with blood clots. I mean, it's so serious. If you're really on the tank train and you're really the San Antonio front office and you want to sit Victor for the rest of the year, you can come up with something a lot less scary than DVT. A lot less scary. Oh, you know what? Lingering shoulder pain. He's just going to have to sit out the rest of the year. Maybe he's going to have some treatment, yada, yada, yada. But like you said, to go into deep, diagnosis and let this come out, there's no faking this, man. You clearly saw how winded he was in the past few games.
Yeah, we even talked about this. Something doesn't look right. And not to say if the Spurs had more depth, he wouldn't be out there as much. But I think it's definitely mindful really heading into next season. You make sure you got some reinforcements out there. Take care of Wemby. Take care of your investment.
You do take care of your investment. JC from Specialty Narrative. Caught her early, got a plan. Wemby out of pocket 2 months easy. Comes back with a Superman cape. I think he's going to come back bigger and better and stronger. But let me go a little bit into this, Gio, because we talked about it the year that the Spurs got the first pick. We knew clearly Wembanyama was the number one pick. For a little bit there, I fought with you. I fought with Derek. And I said, I have a huge concern. The huge concern for me is guys that are drafted and guys that play in the NBA, 7'2" and taller, tend to always have something wrong. Now, this is what I'm going at with this. So far, Victor, knock on wood, pretty healthy. He's been pretty healthy these first couple of years. Is this a major concern only for the fact that two things? DVT is normally a leg blood clot. Rarely, it's very rare. It's not super rare, but it never really happens in the upper body. It's always in the legs is where it starts. It happens there. But knowing that players 7'2", 7'3", and above, Yao Ming, George Mirasan, you know a lot of guys like that. Is it more concerning, in your opinion, for a guy of his height?
I don't want to be concerned too much. Like you said, Rudy, fairly healthy for the most part. This is very unfortunate. As you said, it's something that does happen mostly in the leg, not in the shoulders. At this point, I just want to take it for what it is. Now, obviously, Rudy, and there's a pattern of just random injuries coming and going, then obviously you have to be concerned. But for right now, I don't want to rise the alarm, Rudy. I don't want the city of San Antonio to start panicking and having riots in the streets. Keep it down for right now. Let's see how it goes. But obviously, Rudy, a guy that tall, sometimes when it rains, it pours. And we saw Yao Ming, Rudy. It robbed him of his career. A guy who was a really good player. People like to make fun, and he got dunked on and all that stuff. But Yao was a hell of a player. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see, Arvydas Sabonis, Rudy. He went through a hell of an injury. A guy, a talent that we just saw. We didn't see peak Sabonis. We saw a little bit. We see his son. Just imagine the father as good as what we see in the son. So I don't want to think his rise to concern right now. Let's see how it goes. But definitely, Rudy, you start seeing this pattern. You can't help and think, oh, Lord, here we go again.
Concerning is, and this is Coach Gio, Rudy Campos. You appreciate everybody joining us here on Sweep the League TV. Be sure to go to our YouTube page, search Sweep the League TV, hit that subscribe button so you are not left out. Talking about Victor Wembanyama, the injury, well, not even injury, the news that came out, deep vein thrombosis. He's going to be out for the rest of the season. Outlook for the San Antonio Spurs, Gio, you've got 30 games left on the season. 9 games out of those 30 are against teams that are not in the play-in. 21 games are against teams that are minimum play-in teams right now. Give me your outlook for the Spurs on these last 30 games. Honestly, I've seen a couple people say, ideally, with Wemby, they were going to probably win 14 to 15, maybe half of them coming back, out of this regular second part of the season. How far does it drop? I mean, Wemby's Mr. Everything, and if there's any ray of sunshine, this pretty much solidifies Stephon Castle winning Rookie of the Year, because he's going to be involved a whole hell of a lot more. He's going to have to pick up some slack.
Pick up the slack along with those other guys we talk about that just come and go as they please, not consistent. I'm not going to name names, but we all know who they are on the Spurs. Right now they're beating the Suns. So dare I say that could be a win tonight as part of that kind of streak of wins. Rudy, I'm along lines, probably a little bit less. I think what you said 20, you said 15 games. I mean, probably 9, 10. If Fox isn't there already, it could be a flat out disaster. But if Fox
that's the thing, shutting down Fox, you're talking probably maybe 5-6 wins more.
Unless Stephon Castle goes on a hell of a run, he's putting up 30 a night. Don't quite see that happening. So
no, I really don't. Not right now. I don't see that happening at all.
No.
So you really say, what do you give him? 10? Let's say plus 10. Or minus 10 to 11.
I'll go 11.
11. Okay. I can maybe see 11 wins, which puts them at 33 wins on the season, which puts them in that 30 to 35 range, which we all kind of said at the beginning of the season. What they would be is around no more than 35. 30 wins is probably what we were looking at. So I actually probably have them at around maybe about 9, maybe 10 more wins total on the rest of the season. Lottery odds, man. Now, the next thing that people talk about, no more Wemby, means you're already automatically a lottery team. We for sure know they're probably not going to make the playoffs. They are, I believe, 6 games back of the play-in, if I'm not mistaken. Safe to say that they're going to be a lottery team?
Yeah. It's pretty safe to say. We see these other teams. I find it hard to believe, Rudy. It's possible, but I just don't see it happening.
So they're 5 games out.
And at this point, Rudy, what I always say, if you're going to be bad, you're going to tank, just do it. At this point, Rudy, just do it. I mean, it's better if they can get potentially a Cooper Flag, Rudy. I mean, if it happens, if the NBA gods or, as some of the conspiracy theorists say, it was rigged, whatever the case may be, Cooper Flag in San Antonio, I would definitely love that.
You and everybody else in the Alamo City would love that. Everybody around the league would definitely be calling fixed conspiracy. It was
But as of right
rigged.
now, Rudy, I mean, Washington, I mean, they need Cooper Flag. They need something over there. That team is absolutely terrible. And then they had the top a top pick last year in I forgot his name.
Alexander
yeah.
Sarr.
Yeah.
They got Sarr, Washington. And
So-
I mean, Washington, man. I think they're going to have the worst record in the NBA. Spurs aren't going to be that low. They haven't even won 10 games on the year. They're at 9 wins, Washington. But I see it like this. I don't necessarily expect the Spurs to go down and say we're just not going to win no more. We're done. But I expect it to be tough sailing. I expect them to probably end up being a lottery team again. Do I expect them to win the lottery? No, I don't think so, man. I mean, the odds are going to be so stacked against them. I don't expect them to win the lottery. I mean, as of right now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that have better chances than the Spurs to get that first pick, roughly. So,
and some of those teams were absolutely terrible.
Very terrible. Very terrible.
New Orleans, Utah, Charlotte, which seems to be a every year team in this spot. Rudy, what is up with some of these organizations that, like, yeah, you see organizations come out the rut, but why is it always the same teams?
Can't coaching, front office, bad deal.
Charlotte, they haven't won a playoff game
since Kemba Walker?
No, I don't even think they didn't win that series, Rudy. It's been.
Well, you're talking about game. I think they won a game.
Oh yeah, an actual series since Baron Davis?
Oh God, has it been that long, Baron Davis?
I gotta think, Rudy. And remember, they left to became the New Orleans Hornets, right?
Yeah,
that whole kind of weird.
So then, I think Baron won in New Orleans, right?
Yeah, and then Chris Paul won New Orleans. In Charlotte specifically, I think it was Baron, 2000, Rudy?
Was that Baron and Larry
Johnson? That up.
Larry Johnson and Baron? Or no?
I think Larry had already left. Oh, let's see. Last time.
Look that up, man. That's kind of crazy. Let me get to some of the comments. We got a lot of people in the chat right now. A lot of people on the live stream, including our very own Derek Gervin, who, hey, Derek, I know we want you back, man. We got to get you back on Sweep as soon as possible. I'm going to do everything I can, especially if it's this weekend. I'm going to drive over to his house and I'm going to just buy him a whole new system and setup, man. We got to get him back on. Joel Cologne, Christian Barmore, my Patriots only played a handful of games last season because of blood clots, too. It's nothing to play with. Nope, definitely is not. Or Venom. I can't remember. Oh, Superman or Venom. That's who JC was talking about. Brandon Ingram's was upper body, too, so he may be the blueprint for treatment, but he's not 7 feet tall either. See, that's the thing. Chris Bosh was 6'11", Brandon Ingram 6'9", 6'10". For me, this is the first time I've seen it in a guy 7'3" or taller. I don't know exactly, and that's my concern. As a person on the outside looking in, that's my concern. That's why I asked, do you think height makes a difference in this diagnosis? Because we've seen those guys that are taller, they don't tend to bounce back right away. They tend to have one health problem and it follows them just about their entire career. I mean, what is it? Yao Ming was the foot, George Mirasan foot and back. Kenny George, who never made it to the NBA, but he was 7'7", I think, in college. He had one of his foot had to get amputated. I mean, that's the thing. A lot of these guys, all these taller guys, they're Sean Bradley. I mean, Sean Bradley was healthy for pretty much his entire career for the most part of some of the injuries that he dealt with, the minor ones. But again, don't have a very long career when you're that tall. So that's my concern. That's my biggest concern is a guy of his height. Does this type of medical condition affect him worse than what it would a Chris Bosh, a Brandon Ingram. That's where I'm getting at, Gio.
Yeah, no, I certainly agree. Really, last time the Hornets won a series was in 2002 against the Orlando Magic. Really,
Wow.
that's
22 years ago.
I mean,
22
look,
years ago.
it not too far off from the last time the Seattle Mariners won a playoff series, which is in 2001. So,
Jeez.
I
We're
guess
gonna
I
get
have
into we're gonna get into baseball one day because you and I always talk about those Mariners teams. We'll bring them up later today. I promise you on that. Derek Irvin, the Spurs and Dallas are having a rough time. Get well, Victor. Appreciate you, Derek. And Derek will be back on Sweep the League. I promise you guys he will be back in here. I'm sorry, but we can't talk about Spurs culture and at the same time advocate for tanking. I'm not for that. I never advocate for it. Never
it's a
do.
business. Look, I get everybody what they're saying. I get it. But it's a business. And if the Spurs have an opportunity, maybe potentially help their their draft spot, which obviously it's different in this day and age because it's a lottery. But hey, Rudy, if you're in the NFL and you have the chance to draft Peyton Manning, and you know your team's trash, and you know he's going to change your fortune, wouldn't you not try to tank potentially?
Let me put it this
I'm just
way.
saying,
You make a valid point. I get it. You make a valid
the
point.
NBA is different because we know not the worst team gets it, but
let me go this route. The people that'll say team tank, you got to tank for Cooper Flag, you got to tank for Ace Bailey, you got to get one of these top 4 picks, you got to get that. I ask you this part. NFL wise, Gio. NFL, let me use the NFL. 251 guys get drafted roughly. Yay or nay? Safe to say that what? Maybe 10 in that entire draft on average are potential Pro Bowlers?
Yeah.
Out of 251 guys roughly drafted. Now, NBA wise, you can tank all you want for Cooper Flag. You see he's the real deal. 100% the real deal. What happens if you tank and you get that 4th pick? You did all that losing for what? It's a risk. And the difference is in the NFL, if you tank, you get that pick. In the NBA, if you're the worst team, you have the best chances, but you don't have a guarantee. So that's why when it comes to basketball, I can't be on Team Tank because it's not a guarantee. If the NBA said worst record in the league, guaranteed number 1, totally different. It's totally different.
Yeah, that's the only caveat. Obviously, in NBA, it's you have a slightly better chance, but it's not like the NFL where hey, if you're the worst team, you're going to get the number 1 pick.
Exactly.
Which I like, but in the NBA, Rudy, I almost feel like they need to have it that way because most of these stars don't even show up half the time.
I get that. Derek's in here. I was told injuries like this usually happen because of weightlifting. That's a very good possibility. I mean, it is his upper body. It is his right shoulder. JC says, what are we at? 10% to get the top 4. I think that's what the latest one is as well. Derek's back in here. Gio, my friend knows athletes personally from various sports. And he says that this is a high probability of happening from weightlifting. So keep that in mind. I mean, weight training, weightlifting, might have to cut back on that as Derek Irvin, Sweep the League's host, Derek Irvin is in here chiming in left and right. Love that he's in here. That's why I prefer superpowers. JC saying, no, then you combo a deal for a number 1. Now, see, that's ideal. That is ideal. We'll get into that in a minute here. We have Atlanta's first 2. Now, technically, Atlanta's still in the play-in. They're not in the playoffs, so they can still be a lottery team. But again, it's less likely that Atlanta gets a top 4 pick if they fall in that play-in spot or they're just outside of the play-in. They're going to be one of the best lottery teams.
Why do I feel like Atlanta's trying to win?
Because they don't want that lottery pick to go to San Antonio.
That's
They
what
want it to be worse.
it's almost feeling that way, Rudy. It almost felt like this team was really trying to win games, so the Spurs don't do it again.
Well, it's funny because they're 3 games out of the actual playoff spot at 6, and Detroit is hanging on to that right now. So
Freaking sorry, Eastern Conference.
hey man, you kind of gave me crap when I said Detroit was a team to watch in the East this year. I had a feeling, man. Detroit's young. They've got a squad.
No, I have to hand it to them. They've been playing well, and as they should, Rudy. Some of these teams, you get these top 5 draft picks every year. I mean, eventually, you hope to hit, and they finally have. We've seen what the Magic have finally done. It's like, dude, you get all these top 5 picks, you should be winning eventually. I mean,
the Magic were my surprise last year.
I mean, Charlotte is just cursed because of Michael Jordan, but everyone else should be good.
Should be, you would think, right? Washington's going to be bad forever. I have a feeling they're going to be bad. Even if they get Cooper Flag, I doubt Cooper Flag stays in Washington for the entirety of his career.
I know they're trying to get a new basketball arena. It's going to be interesting how that sets up because there's like, dude, why should we build a new arena for what exactly?
Are they going to make less seats in the stands because they need to fill that arena up? I mean, nobody really goes to Washington Wizards games at all. So if you have a 50,000 or a 28,000, arena, maybe make it 20,000. That way you can ideally get enough people in there.
I know the Commanders should be getting us. I believe they should be in the works of getting, and they should get one, especially now with what they have coming up the pipeline. I know they play in Landover, Maryland. I know DC obviously is different, but they are the Washington Commanders, but they play in Maryland.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's all craziness here. Detroit. Before we move on to more Spurs talk here, because we are covering the Victor Wembanyama injury update. He has deep vein thrombosis. He is shut down for the rest of the season. Does Detroit make the playoffs, Joe?
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
So far, I think they'll get in.
I think so too. And you know what's funny? They make the playoffs. Derek Irvin's going to a playoff game. He told me he will be there. Someone's going to buy him a ticket to go to the playoff game. So that's going to be awesome. I told you got to give us some coverage from there. Joel Clones in here. Gio said that NBA players don't show up half the time, and he's right. So stop giving them guaranteed money, and that nonsense will stop quick. Didn't we say that last night or the other night? How the collective bargaining agreement, the players' bargaining agreement, the owners need to come back and say, you know what? We're guaranteeing you this money, but if you have to play 65 games to be in any type of MVP voting, to win any type of award, then you know what? You got to play X number of games. No more of this. Oh, Joel Embiid, I don't want to play back-to-backs. Well, you know what? I don't want to pay you half your salary if you're not going to play back-to-backs. There's got to be some kind of...
The problem with NBA, Rudy, I think they're probably, and I use this term lightly, out of all the ownership groups of Major League, I think the NBA might be the weakest, Rudy. The NFL, look, they are, you look at some of those owners, and we know a lot of them, obviously. They're real stern. I mean, in that last collective bargaining agreement, remember, the NFL owners were prepared to hold out, Rudy. They were prepared. So to me, the NFL owners are a lot more strict compared to the NBA owners, which seem to be more of a players' league, and it is. Yeah. It's interesting what's going to happen on that front, Rudy, because I do think the contracts are a bit absurd. It's like, I mean, Paul George, $200 million, and yeah, he was hurt, but when he plays, I really don't see anything of what he's doing. And I hate to bring up, I feel like I always bring up Paul George. There's other instances as well. We see Kawhi Leonard's not playing. Zion Williamson still eating a lot of beignets in New Orleans. It's just something's got to give.
Kawhi yesterday. We broke it down. He's played on the average. He's played like 60, 62 games.
He has, and he's probably not the greatest example, but Rudy, I don't know what the NBA does here because they've they've essentially created a monster.
They have. And that's the problem is so this is the whole NBA thing, and I love what Joel said. They got to quit paying this guaranteed money. And the only guaranteed money in major league sports has to be the NFL. I really feel for that. Those guys take a beating every single Sunday. Injury is more than likely happening there than in the NBA. Now you're talking about Goodall wants to go at 18 games on the season. So you're extending the season.
The players have to step in, Rudy.
They do.
They have
do.
To me, the owners seem to always have, I know it's give and take, but to be franchise tagged twice, to me, that's absurd. The players need to get more. I think they need to get more. And I think they were content with the last deal, Rudy, but in the next collective bargaining agreement, I urge the players. The problem is, Rudy, they're not willing to go to war. Not everyone is making Patrick Mahomes money or Joe Burrow money. A lot of NFL players are not making that much. So for them to hold out, it's going to take something like that to get more from the NFL. Because Rudy, those NFL TV deals, go look at the numbers.
Oh,
they're making a lot of money.
They're making billions with a B.
Ridiculous amount. So if I'm the players, I know it's hard, especially for a lot of the lower tier guys. But come up with something. Be tough with the NFL owners, especially Jerry. I'm getting tired of Jerry Jones.
I think a lot of people are getting tired of Jerry Jones, man. So okay, again, Joel brought up the great point here, and again, we are talking about Victor Wembanyama as well, but we kind of get off track, and that's what we do as we do, like, man. We talk everything and everything. We'll get into more Wemby talk, but what Joel said is cool in a way. But check this out. Do you think the owners are fighting back? And I ask you this because everybody was caught off guard with Luka Doncic being traded to the Lakers. I mean, I've said it before, as an owner, you have to look at Luka. I mean, yeah, he can take you to the finals, but you're about to drop a max deal on him. Kind of undercuts you and kind of handicaps you on trying to re-sign a guy like Kyrie or trying to re-sign somebody else. It goes back into the Miami Heat days where you had LeBron, you had Bosh, you had Wade, but you were able to get guys like Ray Allen for cheap, Mike Miller, at a really good deal, Mario Chalmers at a decent deal. These days, a lot of players that are worth a damn are not wanting to take those kind of deals. They're not those types of veterans. So you've even had Ja Morant, even though Memphis's front office said we're not moving Ja. But you've got to realize that because the owners don't have control in the NBA, you're probably going to see a lot more superstars, a lot more all-NBAers probably just get moved. Why pay them? Do you think that makes a statement right there?
It does, Rudy, but they're going to get paid either way. Whether
or deals come in.
Memphis is, if Memphis doesn't give Ja a deal, somebody will. Now, is it the money he's looking for? I don't know, but at the end of the day, the NBA, baseball is a different sport.
Crazy.
Baseball's contracts are also a bit ridiculous. And what the Dodgers are doing is deferring. I urge the MLB owners, and yeah, everybody else can do it, but the Dodgers are doing it. These owners need to step up and say enough is enough. This deferring crap and all this loopholes, whatever they want to go through, it's got to stop. The Dodgers, how many guys this offseason, Rudy, did they sign that they didn't even need to?
Yeah. Tons.
That they didn't even need to. Now, Vlad is probably going to be on the market somehow, some way. Now, they already have a first baseman in Freeman, but it won't stop the Dodgers from thinking, imagine us having Vlad. If they get Vlad, Rudy.
No, they're not getting Vlad. Can it happen? Sure. But I'm going to tell you, I really feel Vlad ends up in Texas as a Ranger. I think he could end up as a Ranger.
I think it's going to be those same damn teams. The Yankees,
No,
Red Sox don't seem to be spending as much as they used to.
Red Sox just got Bregman, so it's
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, I was just saying. And then the Mets, which would be.
I wouldn't mind the Mets. I would like to see Vlad on the Mets. I'd like to see him on the
I like
Giants,
Vlad. I feel like he's put a lot of work in. Is he the best first baseman ever? No, but he is a consistent hitter. And it's a shame, Rudy, with Bo Bichette there. They haven't been able to do anything. And I know they went to the playoffs and lost that series against the Mariners a few years ago. But what a shame, all that talent there, and just has seemed to been able to get over the top. What, Toronto, the last time they won a World Series, was in the 90s, right? Back to back?
Was it the Joe Carter walk off? Was that the last time? Man. Joe Carter, John Olerud. And I got the pitcher. Is it David Wells was one of the pitchers, if I'm not mistaken?
I think he was there at the time.
I think David Wells was a pitcher. I remember because it was when Joe Carter hit the home run against Mitch Williams. He hit the walk-off home run. Man, that can't be the last time. Probably is, man. How many does the Moody Center hold? That looks like small. I actually don't know what the Moody Center holds. I haven't been to a Longhorn game in forever, so it is a small place. Isn't the DC Arena filling up because Ovechkin is about to break Gretzky's record? Yeah, I mean, that's NHL rules Washington right now.
Shout out to Ovechkin. I never thought that Gretzky record would be broken.
Well, I always thought it would be maybe Crosby. I mean, but Ovechkin came in and just
Ovechkin, he did also finally get that Stanley Cup a few years ago. I remember he's been not always the most well-liked guy, but a guy who's been consistent, and kudos to him. Hockey has had a huge resurgence, and we've talked about it on this show. Hockey has been continuing to build and build. I wish I had a hockey team here where I'm at, but they do have one in Chicago. But yeah, it's Washington getting a new basketball arena. Don't even waste your money on that. And who's buying season tickets to that disaster already?
Oh, I don't know. I think they probably part of a two-way
2-for-1 deal, right? Yeah. Like, so you pay for NHL season tickets. It's gonna be like NBA college sports. You pay for all the sports combined, and you get a good deal. But Lord knows who's paying for those? Someone is. Some rich guy's paying for them, but it's a disaster.
They're free. They've got to be free. They need to move the stadium into the district. I think he's talking about Washington. Definitely not for basketball, though. No. The NFL owners are ruthless. They 100% are. Just look at Jerry Jones. Baseball is ridiculous. It definitely is. Both Vlad and Bichette could be moved. Nobody wants to go play there, and that window is closed. I definitely see that when it comes to Toronto. The Moody Center holds 14,000, according to what Tim is saying he believes. Eddie's back in here. To hell with Ovechkin, Gio. Let's go Pens. Eddie's a Pens fan. Pittsburgh Penguins, man. USA, Canada tied it 2. With 8 minutes to go in the third, I want to know how many fights there have been tonight against USA and Canada. JC, I would like to see more Aussie rules football and cricket in San Antonio. Holy cow, cricket in San Antonio. That's, I don't know. I mean,
it'd definitely be a hot one in the summer, that's for sure.
Yeah, you'd have to could not play that in the summer. Coach Gio, Rudy Campos Jr., when we get back, you mentioned hockey. Well, a former hockey player called out LeBron James in our you're seeing it first. What do we have? The first one, I don't know, caught off guard moment. We'll give you a caught off guard moment in a little bit. It's going to be Coach Gio, Rudy Campos Jr., Sweep the League, Derek Irvin. Hopefully we'll be back pretty soon here. Nonetheless, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we get back, we'll have the second part of the show here, guys.
Time to react, yeah, shift like a skate. Left, right, lean, that's a bucket in sight. Pull up mid, let it fly, no hype. Fourth quarter ice, keep the rock in my grip. When the clock go red, don't slip, I rip. Fast is alive, yeah, the motor don't quit. Drop 30 quick, now they begging for a switch. Fox in the open, the lane look free, now allow that up. Wemby, and running no team, keep pace. Fox got gears, Wemby got grace. Hoop too high, man, you won't touch. New Spurs every year, time to rush. Speed too real, yeah, check that type. Defenders froze, now they stuck in place. Who gon' step, man? is from out of this world. He's gonna be an alien. What is going on? Oh my goodness, this guy is really gonna be special. Ain't nothing to it. Wemby still lit. Wemby still lit. Wemby still lit. We got dreams, hit the fast lane. Took the stairs, real pain, no fear. We steady making it clear. I'm the captain, nice to meet you, but I make chess moves, no snooze. Bless you, we turning the impossible to possible. Doing what we do, call me Wemby, alien, flow too quick. You can't see me, just saying. The only thing that is your season, come see me.
You are watching Sweep the League TV. Make sure you subscribe and catch our new videos.
Sweep the League TV with Rudy, Derek, and Coach Gio. Let's get back to the live show. You are watching the best in the business.
All right, welcome back to Sweep the League. Cut off guard moment for Coach Gio. And your cut off guard moment brought to you by MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea as well. Coach Gio, former NHL player, great PK Subban, says, I want Michael Jordan. I want Kobe. That's what I want in every sport. If you're a different version than that, you don't get my respect. This goes out because of LeBron James. True hoop fans don't respect Bron and his longevity. Nobody cares about how many points you score all time when you have had to load manage during the All-Star game and load manage half the game on the defensive side. We respect guys like Kobe and Mike who gave the sport their everything. They never cheated the game.
Well, Kobe had some moments, you know. He had that one game against the Suns, Rudy, where he wanted to make it a point, and he didn't even, I think, attempt the basket in the second half. But no, I completely agree in general.
You have to agree with PK, man. I mean, the guy, we didn't even get into Bron phoning in the damn All-Star game yesterday when we had you back on. I went on my little rant on Tuesday about that. But let's go last night. I know you probably didn't see the game because not very many people did. The Hornets beat the Lakers last night. The exact moment when Luka Doncic got traded to the Lakers, I'm on the phone with Derek, and I tell Derek, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work, Derek. And I know Derek's probably on the stream right now. It ain't gonna work. And he understood why. Because when Luka Doncic doesn't have the ball, he stands around. When LeBron James doesn't have the ball, he stands around. They don't do anything unless the ball's in their hand. Defensively, the fridge, William Perry, can play better one-on-one defense.
Show some respect, Rudy.
Give me a break. Come on, seriously. Seriously. You got literally a pillow and an old man playing defense for the Lakers right now. There's no defense there. So PK's right, man. You want to be considered a great? Don't cheat the game.
Yeah, I mean, Rudy, you know how I feel about Michael Jordan. I think he's the greatest competitor I've ever seen. I think in NBA and to a certain extent in sports history. Now, obviously, you know, the will to win is kind of hard to gauge, but just off on what my eye test tells me, Rudy, we saw The Last Dance, Rudy.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the aura. I watched, especially the first few episodes of The Last Dance, Rudy. I'm just sitting there like, dude, this was a bad. I mean, I knew he was bad, but this guy was really bad.
He was ruthless.
He was ruthless. His will to win. And yeah, you know, it wasn't easy, especially those earlier years, Rudy, where, you know, Detroit's kicking their butt. And I mean, they're literally beating up Michael Jordan, right? There was a book, Rudy, called the Jordan Rules. I mean, hello.
What do we? I don't never heard. As in Bill Laimbeer, I've never heard no Jordan Rules. What are the Jordan Rules?
Yeah, I know, right? So it comes down to, just the will to win. And then Kobe, right? The carbon copy of Michael Jordan. And Kobe had some stuff I didn't always agree with. He was trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, Kobe was also a ruthless. And as a Spurs fan, Rudy, especially that run with the Lakers, Shaq, as dominant as he was, I feared Kobe. I knew what Shaq was going to do, Rudy. Yeah. I knew what he was going to do to David, right? And dunking in the post. I knew that. But Kobe, that's the man I feared. That's the man I looked in his eyes and says, if that guy goes off, we're toast. And 100%. It wasn't until 2003 where finally we broke through. But he's right, man. Listen, and I think the world of LeBron. I think he's a hell of a player. I think he's done a lot for the NBA. But he's played a long time. He passed up Michael. Michael didn't shoot threes. Yeah, Michael wasn't shooting three. He was going into the paint.
Yeah.
He was up against some of the big giants in the NBA has ever seen, and Shaq and Patrick and Alonzo Mourning and David and all the rest of the other guys. There was so much toughness, and I just don't see that, especially now in the NBA where ain't nobody playing any defense. I mean, Victor's going to be a defensive player of the year probably every year because nobody else really does anything. Now, there's decent guys who can defend, but in general, it's just not it. But yeah, to his point, Rudy, just LeBron, I don't think people necessarily, they admire him, but I don't think they always respect him. And with Michael and Kobe, Rudy, you would never, on a basketball court do some of the things that some of these players have done to LeBron. It's just not happening. You think someone's going to tell Mike? There's a story, Rudy. Isaiah Ryder, he's playing in Minnesota, right? It's a young Kevin Garnett. I'm not sure if you heard this story. Isaiah Ryder's having a good game, right?
Oh, I heard that story. Yeah.
And Kevin's like, you smoking him. You know what? And Isaiah's like, all right. Just stop. And Michael's there. He's standing. He has a hand on his waist. And boy, did Michael give them the work. And Kevin Garnett says, that's my bad. That's my bad on that. So, yeah, I'm not surprised with this comment.
Neither am I, man. And, I'm going to stick with the LeBron thing here in a second. But we got a lot of comments that came in. Remember when the pipe broke at the Washington Stadium and the poop water fell on the fans? I remember that. You could literally just
get a new stadium, guys. Come on. It's time.
Oh my God, man. You could smell it through that whole damn thing that when you saw it on Sports Center and stuff. Cricket, nobody has time for a 3-day game. Cricket can go for days, and then Joel St. Adity or that chick that gave can't really go on that comment. PK thinks his opinion counts for something. Not a LeBron fan, but PK is one of the most overrated players of all time. Again, I don't follow much hockey, but I respect PK at least for saying that because it is true. I have zero respect for LeBron. Zero. LeBron has never had heart. He got a cramp just reading that.
I mean, look, I give LeBron, his team did come down from 3-1 against the Warriors, where Rudy at that time, the Warriors were flying high.
Yeah.
Right? He's done some stuff. I do think Ray Allen saved his you know what.
Sure. I say that. I can honestly say that is true. That's at least one less title that LeBron has. And their finals record just gets worse and worse. Anthony's in here. He says NBA players have to stop saying things like, I give everything to this game. The money gets more respect in the game. 100%, dude.
Well, Rudy,
100%.
I think the rules, though, need to change. But you need a more physical brand of basketball, and maybe the rules will help, right? Something about checking and bringing some ideas. Maybe the FIBA, the FIBA games seem to be more physical.
Well, yeah, you saw this physicality in the Olympics, man.
Yeah,
it was there. The only time LeBron showed any heart was when he had the block. That is true. So here's the LeBron thing. You mentioned a little while ago that people respect him, respect his game. Is he one of the all-time greats? Okay. I mean, okay, he was a generational talent when at his prime. He did some really good things. I'll give him that. And I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. He's a limited generational talent. That's what I'm going to say about that.
I don't know, Rudy.
He's a limited a one-on-one. If LeBron goes one-on-one against somebody, he's not effective unless he's actually has a full set of steam going. It's very tough for him to get to the basket, Gio. So I mean,
I get it, Rudy. I do. Listen, I got prime LeBron was a problem.
You think?
Oh yeah.
When was prime LeBron? I'll wait.
The end of the Spurs at 2008 to obviously his days in Miami. I mean, they did get 2 championships. The Dallas thing was
really LeBron.
Yeah. And listen, I think Dwayne Wade was, he had
best
some of those
player on one of those teams.
Yeah, for one of those teams, his knees just start to obviously give out. And look, you need good players in order to win championships. And I always say it, you need really good players on your side. I mean, the days of Michael Jordan didn't do alone. He had one of the best Batmans or Robins ever in Scottie Pippen. You still need help, and he had that certain. But I think prime LeBron was great. Unfortunately, ran into in 2007 that Spurs team, and then the Dallas one. I will agree with Rudy. Probably one of the biggest meltdowns we've seen from a superstar in NBA history, and we also saw it in 2010 where they lost to Boston, I believe, in that conference finals, where he just didn't show up. And then remember, it was the whole, he had to be sedated because of the whole, I think so, Delonte West fiasco with his mom. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But hey, 3-1 down to beat the Warriors. And then unfortunately the Warriors go get this big giant in Kevin Durant.
Hey, man.
And it was just completely a mismatch in those other finals. So, I mean, listen, there's highs, there's lows. He also won the COVID championship,
which some people respected, some people don't. I got no comment on the COVID championship. Derek Irvin, I'm no LeBron fan, but he is generational. He is generational.
Yeah.
I look at it as I have to use he's limited generational for me. There's some things that he can't do right that most guys consider generational do better. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of a awkward way to say that. Wade was a dog of those Heat teams, not LeBron. Thank you, Joel. He's on my side for that. Gio, LeBron. I hate that we're talking about LeBron. We're giving him a lot of love here in some sort of way. A lot of love, hate for LeBron. And I'm glad Derek's in here because Derek's going to be a part of this as well. But just to recap, Victor Wembanyama is out for the rest of the season. DVT. That's what he was diagnosed with. Prayers are with him from Sweep the League. All of us here at Sweep the League wishing Victor a very speedy recovery. Prognosis is good. They said that it's something that he can bounce back on. We're hoping that it's nothing that lingers his entire career or hurts his career. It is a very serious issue. So right now, basketball is don't even worry about what the Spurs are doing. If they win, they win. If they don't, they don't. No big deal. Just get ready for next season. One more comment. LeBron scores 40 points 78 times in 20 years. Jordan scored 40 points 173 times in 15 years. There's no debate on who the GOAT is. We're never going to say LeBron's better than there's no way.
I will go to my grave. To me, Michael Jordan's the GOAT. I think LeBron's
not even number 2. Stop. He's not number 2.
He's the all-time. I mean, really,
who gives
the all-time
damn?
The all-time leading scorer. It's got to be.
Who was the all-time leading scorer? Was he the GOAT? Was he considered a GOAT? No. Karl Malone.
Karl also was not a generation. He wasn't a generational player.
The all-time greatest power forward until Timothy Duncan.
Yes. The Karl thing, I think, is a bit different. Not generational, but if you talk about generational player, I mean,
he's not up there, dude.
if he's in the top 5, I won't argue. If you don't want to put him number 2, I think top 5 for sure.
I don't even know if I can put LeBron in the top 10 of all time.
Really stop. Come on.
Name me. Okay, LeBron. Where is LeBron a top 10 Laker? Let's go through the list.
I mean,
if you can't put LeBron in the top 10 of Laker history, then why in the hell would anybody put him in the top 10 of GOAT conversation or all-time conversation? Magic Johnson, Kareem. We'll go even further because we're going all-time Laker. Put George Mikan in there.
Rudy, stop.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Rudy, also, that was the Minneapolis Lakers. Come on.
Okay, forget Mikan. Kareem, Magic, Wilt, Jerry West, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal. There's 6 right there. Norm Nixon. You've got Gail Goodrich. You've got who else? Bob McAdoo is another one.
Rudy, stop. LeBron's in the top 10.
James Worthy, Finals MVP. Come on,
Rudy.
Gio. I mean, you can defend LeBron all you want. Is he a top 10 Laker?
I am no LeBron apologist.
No, I know you're not.
I'm not a Bron sexual. I'm pretty neutral, but I think he's in the top 10, Rudy. I mean, look.
So who do you leave out? Give me your top 10 on the Lakers. I know you're going to look them up. I expected that.
Well, I
He's
think
not
Magic
top 5.
Johnson. Huh?
He's not top 5.
Magic Johnson's one. Kobe, Kareem. You can slice them how you want.
Okay.
Shaq, Jerry.
That's 5.
Elgin Baylor's on that list.
I forgot Elgin. That's 6.
Wilt Chamberlain. I'll
7.
put LeBron at number 8. With James Worthy.
So you don't have McAdoo ahead of LeBron?
No.
Wow. So you didn't say Kareem?
Yeah, I know. I put Kareem there.
You did?
Yeah.
So you are okay with putting LeBron at number 8 all time as a Laker?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's stop right there. If you're putting LeBron at 8, that means you have 7 players ahead of him. I told you LeBron's not top 10.
Yeah, but when you're ranking top Lakers, it's also impact eras. I'm not putting Jerry West in my top 5.
But I'm saying if you can't put a guy all-time top 5 in his
and
own
honestly,
category.
my list wasn't necessarily in order. It was just putting a bunch of top 10. Jerry West is not in my top 5. Elgin Baylor's not in my top 5.
But they're better than Bron.
No. Jerry West is not better than LeBron James, Rudy.
So give me top 10. Give me top 10 for you all time, not Laker. Just give me top 10 all time for you. Let me put you on the spot because I'm already at the point where if you've got Bron at 8 in a Laker uniform. Now Miami, would you put him over Dwayne Wade in Miami?
No, I mean Dwayne's Mr. Miami.
Okay, so then we can easily say another guy ahead of Bron as far as teams go.
Yeah, teams is different because I don't value that. It's lower on the list compared to greatest players. But listen, Michael Jeffrey Jordan is my number 1 player. I mean, there's no questions, ands, or buts. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Kareem. I'm gonna give the big man some love.
Definitely.
6 NBA MVPs. It's definitely tough to beat. Now, number 3. I'm going to go with Magic on here.
I'll give you that.
I'll go with Magic, the impact he had.
Is it safe to say Bill Russell's in your top 5?
Bill was a great winner. But
and you know what?
The greatest, but it's tough because I thought he was a fantastic player and a big winning, but he was literally the only team back then. I mean,
yeah,
there's really nobody else. But I'm kind of going in between LeBron and this is. I wrote some players down. It's just so difficult to.
So I'm going to give you a disclaimer on this.
LeBron and then, Shaq, man. Shaq was.
Oh, hold on. We got Eddie in here. Laker talk on Sweep the League. Actually, we're not doing Laker talk now. I wanted to prove a point to Gio that you can't really have, in my opinion, it's hard to put LeBron in the top 10 of all time.
No,
Lakers.
yeah. I mean, if you want to.
That's what we talk about Lakers. Now we're talking about all time.
I think he's in there, but give me Mike, give me Kareem, and ironically, I have a bunch of Lakers on my top 10 because, they are some of the greatest players of all time.
You got to have Bird ahead of him.
3 and 4. I love Shaq a lot. I think we were robbed of Shaq, especially his later career. He was completely out of it.
Yeah.
Shaq, LeBron, Bird. Actually, no. I'm kind of thinking on the spot because Timmy was also really good, but
Timmy's
Shaq's. I'll give Shaq's peak higher than Duncan, but they're both right there.
So don't rank them. And this is the disclaimer. Whoever you have, if you had LeBron number 1, Gio, I mean, I'm just saying disclaimer here. If you had Bron number 1 all time, I'm not going to argue with you.
No, he's probably 4 or 5 for me.
That's yours, is what I'm saying. Your top 10 is going to be different from mine. It's going to be different from the next guys. So that's no doubt about that. I'm not going to argue with who your top 10 is. I'm just making a case that I think LeBron's going to be remembered for one thing. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm sadly, if I'm wrong, I'm big time wrong. LeBron's going to be remembered for one, maybe the player for the fall of the NBA as we know it. Ratings have gone down with him as the face.
So not Steph Curry jacking up.
No. Steph's but see, Steph's after the fact. Steph's continued it, but
I think
Steph Curry's one of the greatest shooters of all time. Is what they say. It's what they say.
I think
I don't buy it.
Steph has made more of a more detrimental impact than LeBron.
I'm not arguing.
Think of what we see today. How many threes? Some of these teams are Boston. I mean, I've seen games where they put up 43s in a game.
I get that.
To me, Steph has been more of a detriment. I mean, listen, LeBron, low management, all that stuff, but really, to me, I think Steph. And sure, if you want to see he's the greatest shooter of all time, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah,
but Cooper,
Michael Cooper. I mean,
Tim, stop.
Hey man, you cannot argue with anybody's top 10.
No disrespect to Cooper. I don't think he's an NBA Hall of Famer, but
wow. Okay. I love the hot takes. I love the hot takes. Derek Irvin saying James Worthy. Now already Bob McAdoo was a complimentary piece when he got to the Lakers. Okay, but where are you ranking him all time? Forget the Laker part. They're talking Shaq, of course. The Laker talk. There's no Laker talk, Eddie. Trust me. We had to make a point here on where LeBron ranked in the Lakers category. Derek's in here. Kareem, Jordan, Wilt, Russell, Magic, Duncan, Bird, LeBron, Olajuwon, Shaq, Kobe. So Derek's got Bron in his top 10. He does. Generational talent, he says. So he's got him in his top 10. Eddie's got Dirk. Eddie's also got Timmy's better than Bron. No debate. I will take that all day, every day. The impact of Curry's game is bigger than LeBron's for sure. Teams jacking up 73s a game is absurd. So again, Steph did have a part in ruining the game in the sense of jacking up threes. It's a 3-point league now. But then you get into LeBron's case, man. The guy's supposedly one of the strongest guys in the game, but yet he flops around more than a fish out of water.
Well, yes, the flopping wasn't always great, Rudy, and
Manu perfected it.
The big three, technically the big three was Boston. Actually, technically the big three was the Houston Rockets, but we won't talk about that. technically the big three started with Boston. You could say Miami kind of took it to another level and then started a bunch of teams with big threes. I'll go there, but I honestly, Rudy, I think Steph Curry, the amount of threes we see, as Joe Colon even said in his comment, it is pretty absurd.
It is.
I see guys would rather take a three than go for a layup.
Yeah.
I thought I only saw that on the basketball street courts. This is an actual NBA where guys are just shooting a ton of threes. It's really shaped the NBA, and the NBA has an image problem right now that they're trying to fix. And I think they need to go back to a more physical brand of football. I mean, of football. Well, yeah, right. Bring some football to the NBA. Hopefully, you know what? Bringing it back to NBC, having that, theme song come back, Rudy. Maybe that's going to help. But the NBA has an image problem. They need to bring physicality back to the NBA. I'm not saying we don't
need Detroit Pistons bad.
Detroit Pistons and New York Knicks,
I would like to see that.
Coming down the lane, you get jacked up every day. It's not that, but my Lord, we need some physicality. And for someone, I want someone to say something. Oh no, it's a physical game. Oh no, not from what I've seen. It's a bunch of flops, and nobody knows their roles. People want to be star. Everybody want to be a star. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you just knowing your role, doing what you do because that's what we hired you for, and do all that what comes with it. But no, the NBA, they have an image problem, Brody. And
round ball ruckus. I remember playing in the round ball ruckus 3-on-3 tournament. Holy cow, that's a throwback, Eddie. I appreciate that throwback on there. Maybe the NBA on NBC theme song with Jackson.
Yeah,
exactly.
Brady,
what
you know
Gio
what?
Said.
The NBA on NBC, what was always that, right? That pregame, right?
Yeah.
Those kind of montage, kind of like the old WWF, should I say, montages, how they would have the build up, right? Really, some of these playoff games don't even feel like nothing. There's no build up to these games.
You get, Shaq and Kenny talking right up until tip off. There's no, I missed the days of the who was it, Mike Fratello, and these guys on the sidelines talking to the coach, or not even talking to him. Forget the talking, just talking about this matchup between it's gonna be good. They hyped it up like you said.
Yeah.
Now it's Shaq and Kenny talking till right before tip off. I mean, it's you're right. There's nothing.
There's no build up. If you go look at NBA on NBC intros, today it's game 7. It was all these it was great to watch growing up. Now you don't have any of that. There's no build up to these series, and there's also no rivalries because you know why, Rudy? Everybody works out together in the offseason. Everybody goes on vacation. Everybody does all this together. And I'm not saying Mike didn't have players he would talk to, but you know what Michael Jordan did, Rudy? Crazy story. When he came back to come to the NBA, he's doing that Space Jam movie.
Yeah.
He built a basketball court on the set, and he invited a bunch of NBA players. And I don't know if it was Reggie or Kenny Smith. And you know what they said? They said that was the worst idea because we're helping Michael get better and come back to the NBA.
You're right.
That's crazy to think Michael would do that. But anyway, we need more. This is more competition, man. It's just something to, I don't know, do something.
Well, we got a little competition before we go here. Roundball Ruckus, he was saying that's the name of the theme song for the NBA. But it was also a tournament. The Roundball Ruckus was a tournament, a 3-on-3 tournament, and it would go around nationally too. So I do remember that by John Tesh for sure. Tim Gonzalez is in here saying, I'm glad NBC is coming back next year. Not to mention that as great as Mike Breen is, his euphoria has been taken away by his Doris Burke. And I think Anthony was like not top 5 all time, but give me another group that can beat Jordan, Shaq, Kobe, Iverson, and Curry. I would probably say, I don't know. I have to think on that one. I know easily prime Magic, prime Bird, maybe prime Isaiah, prime Carl to start off with, and maybe throw Tim in there. That could probably get the job done. on that team right there. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you could get somebody out there. Gio, before we go, man, I got to do this to you because we had All-Star Weekend. I want you to tell me, how many players can you name from the 1989 3-point contest?
1989?
1989. I can name all but one. And I actually got that guy. I posted it on my X. And I got I'll be honest, number 12, I got totally wrong. I said Brad Davis. It's not Brad Davis. It's some Lithuanian guy, but I named everybody else. Can you name all those guys?
So that's Craig Hodges. I know that.
Obviously, Craig Hodges, one of the best 3-point shooters that a lot of people don't talk about.
That's Reggie, right? Number
That is a
31 with
young
that
Reggie.
old throwback.
Yeah.
Is that Danny Ainge?
Danny Ainge is one of them. Yes, he's on the bottom right.
And then, hold up here. I got to zoom in. Sorry, Rudy.
No, go ahead and zoom in. I got them all. Trust me, I got them all. I didn't have to look them up. I got them all with the exception of that European guy.
Is that Harper? Number 12?
That is Derek Harper for the Dallas Mavericks. That is Derek Harper.
And then
2 of the guys on there played for the Spurs. Dan Marley is not one of them. That was one of the guesses. Dan Marley is not one of them.
Is that Dale Ellis?
Dale Ellis from the Seattle Supersonics. So far you've got Dale, Reggie, Craig, Danny, and Derek Harper. You need the Nugget, the Heat, and the Sixer. One of them played with the Spurs.
Is that Nuggets? Is that Michael?
Michael Adams.
I do remember that name. I definitely don't know the Heat guy, so don't even ask me about that. And then wait, what team is number 12?
That is the Sixers, the 76ers right there.
That's not. Is that Gerald?
You're on the right path. That would be Gerald Henderson.
There you go.
The Miami Heat guy is a former San Antonio Spur. Rookie season was with the Spur. That is one John Sunvold, who gets mentioned on Locked On Spurs from time to time by me.
I do remember the name.
John Sunvold, former San Antonio Spur legend, John Sunvold right there, playing for Miami. So that is the 1989.
That Dale Ellis. I was like, wait a minute. I've seen that. You know, we need basketball back in Seattle, and I think we will.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's definitely going to be happening. Hakeem had Shaq on skates back in the day. Derek says he messaged Adam Silver on Monday. I need to get with Derek on that. I want to know what this message is that he sent to Adam Silver.
Dude,
Derek does talk to him from time to time, FYI.
Hakeem, Rudy, we've talked about this guy. In his prime and what he did to Shaq in the 1995 NBA Finals, Shaq to this day said he has nightmares. What Hakeem, and people like to make fun of what happened to David, you know, you got to make fun of Shaq too, because Hakeem was also doing the same thing he did. The problem is Robinson was more out there because Robinson's jumping and Hakeem's faking and doing all those hook shots. Hakeem probably the best when it came to counters.
Yeah.
His counters were unbelievable. I mean, just
they were
2 NBA champions back to back. Ironically, Rudy, in the 90s, only 2 Western Conference teams won championships. I believe they happened to be in Texas.
Yeah. It'd be the Spurs and the Rockets.
Yeah.
The only 2 teams in the Western Conference in the 90s to win an NBA title. Man,
it's kind of crazy to think.
Boston's jersey, the Bulls jersey. I mean, the Bulls jersey. I like the Bulls jerseys back in the day. What jersey would you bring back?
You know, it's very.
I like those.
I like those Nuggets.
Yeah, the old Nugget jersey.
I like those. I know the Jazz have kind of. I feel like every year the Jazz are changing up. They've gone a little more. They went old school, and then they've gone slightly more modern. But I love the Nuggets. The Dallas, I do like kind of what they have See, Boston's always the same.
Oh, Boston doesn't change, man. It's the same thing. Same thing with the Bulls. Now the Bulls had bigger letters, obviously,
Yeah.
but that same thing. But this is what I want to say, and I brought this up too. 80s jerseys, Gio, 90s jerseys. Those were the best jerseys, man. I have to say, those anything 90 and back, probably the best jerseys, man.
Yeah, like if you look at the Jazz, Rudy, they've gone to their. It's a throwback with the logo, but the color scheme is more like late 90s with like Karl Malone. But yeah, no, those 80s and 90s jerseys, phenomenal. I mean, I thought the Toronto Raptors were a little overboard.
Hell no, those original Raptor jerseys. Hell no,
I thought it was a little crazy.
I loved those jerseys.
I thought those were kind of a little over the top, but
I loved them. I loved those jerseys, man.
You know, Joe Cullen said, "Bring the Sonics back." If you watch some of their older games, Rudy, in the 80s and 90s, just listen to how loud those crowds.
Was Key Arena right there, right?
Yeah, those crowds, especially in the 90s when they're in the playoffs, it's just super, just extraordinarily loud. And unfortunately, Rudy, they just, one finals appearance, but they had so many other opportunities to potentially be even more of a potentially historical team because they had the talent.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they lost to Dikembe Mutombo in the first round, where he, has that iconic ball over his head. And I think they lost in the conference finals one year to the Charles Barkley Sonics in 93, but they had a lot of other opportunities, just couldn't get over the hump into that 1 year in 96. But
what was with Sean Kemp in Seattle? It seemed like he had a vendetta against the Golden State Warriors, ducking on Chris Gatling, dunking on Alton Lister, if you remember that name from back in the day.
Chris Gatling can play.
Oh, Gatling can play, but what do people remember most about him? Blocking that shot in Seattle.
And then not only that, Gatling gave him
the rebound and dunking on him.
He gave him a pound. I don't know if you
exactly.
He gave him a pound because Gatling's
dapped him up, man, like the kids say.
He said, "Dude, I can't even front, dude. Like you're doing your thing." Yes, Sean Kemp.
Oh God, Sean Kemp.
Was a really good player, and I think from what I've heard over the years, really, the lockout was, a lot of players need to, need that kind of structure. Sean Kemp, I think he's playing in Portland. He comes to Portland, and he was as heavy as he's ever been. But remember, he got traded to Cleveland, and he made an all-star team. He got them to the playoffs, I think, against the Pacers in 98. So we saw everything. I did feel like we just missed out a little bit more because I didn't feel like it was over for Sean Kemp. But I think we also realized later on there were some other demons that he was obviously battling, and but man, his prime with Gary.
Oh my God. It was him. It was Detlef on that team. But even past Sonic teams, like growing up watching Tom Chambers was a part of those Seattle Supersonic teams.
Yeah.
Before he was I think it was before he was in Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken. Tom Chambers was there. I got my first true look at Sedell Threet when he was a Sonic. I remember Sedell Threet was a guy that I liked watching. I mean, man.
But Rudy, I mean, they countless. I mean, they won 64 games in 95, won 55 in 92, 93. I mean, you go look at some of their best seasons just in come playoff time, obviously besides 96, couldn't get over the hump. But it's funny, Rudy, Kenny Smith, he thought, and I think we've talked about this, or no, Greg Anthony, as the Knicks are in the finals, Spurs are playing the Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
He thought the Spurs were going to go right through
the
Houston Rockets. And Kenny Smith says, Kenny Smith also thought it. He says the Spurs gave us more problems than any other team in the West that year because of who? Dennis Rodman was the X factor in that series, but I think Dennis was suspended for a half or something like that. But Kenny Smith said, he says the 95 Spurs, which a lot of people never really mention as one of those teams in the 90s. But obviously, if David Robinson's on that team, you're going to have a chance. But really, like the Sonics, you got to talk about the Spurs too. What come playoff time? What happened with David? He just couldn't get over the hump.
Couldn't get over the hump. Never could. I mean, what was their best year? It would have probably been that year where Hakeem decimated the Spurs. But I mean, even the year where Rod Strickland went behind his back for a pack and turned the ball over.
I think they're playing Portland.
Yeah. That was against Portland. So they would have actually moved on. And I think that Spurs team, I'm gonna go on a limb. It's tough to say, but that Spurs team had the makings of, I want to say, was it the Bull? No, it would have been the Detroit Pistons, I think, that year.
Because remember this.
Yeah.
So Portland beats, and I think Portland played the Jazz.
Well, I think that was to go to the finals that game.
I think it was the conference semifinals.
God, we gotta look that up for next time. But I want to say that was really, I think that was to go to the finals because Portland won and ended up playing.
Let me check
the Detroit Pistons.
That's 89-90 season, right?
It was around there, 89-90, right around that.
NBA
90.
Let me search Western
Because that was Rod
Conference Finals.
Strickland, Willie Anderson, David Robinson, Sean Elliott was there too.
So actually, 1990, it's the Suns. So the Suns made the conference finals.
There was that year. We got to look it up more. There was that year.
The Suns had that random year with Tom Chambers where they made a hell of a run.
Yeah,
I know the Jazz. The Jazz may have been 90. I know the Jazz were in the conference finals too.
Yeah,
but yeah, those they lost to the Portland.
Yeah,
and then they lose in the first round to Golden State. I believe Spurs were the second seed. I believe they were second versus the seventh, and then they lose in the first round. Yeah,
because that was the year. And this ages me bad. That was the year I think they had to have Paul Pressey as their starting point guard because I want to say Strickland was out or something happened, and I remember Paul Pressey ended up being a starting point guard for that Spurs team, and it was just they could never recover with Paul Pressey being the starting point guard. Before we go, man, let's get some of the comments. Eddie's saying the Bullets. Remember the Washington Bullets? I remember them. Used to love their jerseys. Orlando Magic's was clean with the pinstripes, man. Oh, I love them. Bring the Suns jerseys back from the 90s. That's right. The Kevin Johnson era, man. Just don't go buy an Oliver Miller because they don't make 5X anymore in Suns jerseys and 5X Oliver Miller jerseys.
Dude, the Suns were another that's another team.
They definitely were best jerseys. Rudy, Eddie's also the Grizzlies the original Grizzlies jerseys were good, man. I loved them. Sean Kim's got more kids than Nick Cannon. Derek's in here. Hakeem and Kevin McHale with the footwork now add Jokic. Yeah, definitely, man. U.S. lost. Connor McDavid with the overtime goal. Canada won. Appreciate Joe and Eddie for giving us the heads up. Anthony's in her Mellow era Nuggets jerseys. Definitely. I like those Nugget ones. And Derek was saying those 90-91 New Jersey Nets jerseys were sweet.
Oh, are those the baby blue?
They were baby blue, and I think they were also the
white.
Weren't they the Dr. J version, the blue, red, and white, if I'm not mistaken. 90-91. Hakeem was really special. Gatling is a funny guy. My UTSA teammate Robert Wallace had a celebrity game at St. Mary's, and Chris Gatling was there. According to Derek, I remember Derek told me that. And last but not least, Derek saying Sedell was his buddy. I love me some Sedell 3, man. Like I said, with Seattle, that was the first time I got a glimpse of Sedell 3. So nonetheless, man, you know what? We did go throwback today. We normally do throwbacks on Thursday. I kind of stumped Gio there. Didn't know Spurs great John Sunvold. That's very disappointing. But as we talked about, what's that?
I missed one guy, I think, right?
You missed one guy. You had help on two. I gave you the last name of Gerald Henderson, and I gave you the last name of Michael Adams. So technically, you got.
Rudy, you're also older than I am, Rudy. I mean,
I am an old guy. I
actually held my own.
No, and that's what I'm saying. You did really good. You got an A minus. You got an A minus on that. I didn't give you the international guy because not even I got that. I said that was Brad Davis. that was clearly not Brad Davis, but my guess was Brad Davis.
It was Slava Medvedenko.
Oh my God, Laker great Slava Medvedenko with.
I'm sure Rudy has Slava on his top 10. Knowing
God.
Rudy, he's going to have all these other guys.
No, I don't have Slava Medvedenko. Yeah, he's just outside of my top 10. He actually, I have him higher than Andrew Bynum. I'll put it that way. I have him higher than Andrew Bynum as a Lakers great all time. But nonetheless, this was your Thursday throwdown and throwback here on Sweep the League. Appreciate everybody that joined us tonight. 65 plus strong. Comments were fantastic tonight. Again, the best way to follow everything we do for Sweep the League is go to YouTube, search Sweep the League TV, hit that subscribe button. Also, TikTok, guys, we've launched a TikTok. It's at Sweep the League Radio on TikTok. Go and follow us on there as well. Going to be doing a giveaway here pretty soon, so you don't want to miss out on that. Best way to do it is be following us on all the social media platforms. So for Derek Gervin, who will be back soon, for Coach Gio, this is Rudy Campos Jr. Until we sweep the league, hopefully tomorrow, prayers going out to Wemby again, out with DVT, out for the remaining of the season. Spurs fans, it's going to be a rough time the second half of the season. Just enjoy the ride right now. But for Coach Gio, for Derek Gervin, it is Rudy Campos Jr. Until we sweep the league again, we will see you later, knuckleheads.
Vision on the court, watch my plays take action. Fast break, hustle, yeah, I'm built to compete. Defense locked in, I'm the soul of the street. Court vision crazy, I'm balling in the zone.